All right, Steve. Sorry about that. I tried to invite you in, but I accidentally ended up kicking you out of the room, I think.
All good, brother. How's it going?
Oh, just waiting for some of these levels to resolve.
Yeah, I've been out of pocket since yesterday. What am I missing?
Well, I mean, it really feels like that summer trading environment is upon us, right? That very kind of dull action. And for people like you and me, it's almost like sounding like a broken record. These levels have been being tested for weeks, months now, and we really haven't seen decisive resolution. Whether that's 4,200 in the S&P 500 or 1,700 in the Russell 2000 or um, you know
3050 and XLF.
another great one. And I think if that one breaks, you'll probably see the Russell break too. Like, do you see an environment where financials break down, but the Russell 2000's holding?
No, I mean, they move together, right? And it's because of the composition of the indexes. The Russell is, as you know, very heavy financials, heavy banks, really. So one of the charts we've been circulating internally a lot lately is an overlay of the Russell and XLF because we think those pivot lows go at the same time, right?
Right. And as far as gold goes, everyone was really thinking, and myself included, thinking that thing was going to break out last week, but it's just doing what it does best, right? Just fooling the majority. Got rejected a little bit. Couldn't officially break out to an all-time high on a closing basis. I think we got there on an intraday basis, right?
What silver gold look like this week?
Silver gold. Every time, I haven't been able to get much from that ratio. I feel like it's just been kind of a mess. What do you think?
I You need it to move up and to the right now, and I would say the same thing for like GDX on a relative basis. I think those two charts really need to be moving up and to the right for this breakout in gold to finally occur. It's just like, in other words, what I'm saying is if this breakout in gold is going to be the real deal, or if we're going to, resolve from this range and these new highs are going to stick, risk appetite needs to be there, right? I want to see in the precious metal space people moving out on the risk spectrum, right? So I want to see them buying silver at a faster rate than gold. I want to see gold miners outperforming. I want to see those animal spirits alive and well in the precious metal space before I trust any breakout from gold.
Right. Where are you headed to?
I'm trying to pick out golf clubs, man. It's been like a whole 2 week thing. No, so we went to Knicks Heat last night. That was a bummer. I mean, both teams are really good, which is cool because it's been so long since the Knicks had a good team.
Yeah.
And then I parlayed the trip into hitting up the PGA Superstore because I'm very like you know me, I'm like too calculated, right? And with these golf clubs, you could just keep trying them, keep tweaking them a little bit, and trying different ones, and going and getting fitted, and it could take hours. And now I'm to the point where I'm just like, just give me these clubs. So.
No, you've been playing a lot lately. I feel like every time I talk to you, you're just like, yep, just my third day in
I
a
got
row.
shut up. I got the bug. It's like, you know how JC's a gold bug? I got the golf bug.
JC's a gold bug, huh?
No, I just like breaking the balls. So JC's actually in Arizona right now at the AAII conference.
No
Or no,
kidding?
NAAIM, I think. One of
Oh,
those.
okay. Different
Yeah.
sentiment survey.
Yeah, I told him
Look,
to.
first off, Traza,
Good morning,
Who's this
Sean.
guy? Kick
new
him out.
clubs are not going to make you a better golfer.
No, but my clubs are so old. I need to like give myself a chance here, Sean. I gotta give all my buddies are getting new gear. My golf clubs are like rusting. So
All right. Well, secondly, you're overthinking it, man. Just get some clubs.
no, but you want them to be right. It's a big purchase. You want to get the right ones. I had a buddy. He got a set. He bought them online. Didn't go get fitted, and he had to send them back. They weren't good for him. There's all these different like nuances to a golf club. Like if you swing the club fast, then you need a stiff shaft. I'm learning a lot, so I'm having fun with it. But you're probably right, Sean. It's been taking too long, so we're gonna make a decision today.
Man, you know it's slow in the markets when we have to talk about golf, right? Um, no, I mean it really does just feel like we're just kind of pausing here until we really decisively break some of those levels, and it's just been exhausting. Yesterday was a very low volume day, and volume isn't something that I really pay too much attention to, but when you do have kind of an extraordinarily low day, it does tell you that we're just kind of in wait and see mode,
Don't we
right?
have some kind of government number that everybody's waiting for this afternoon, or am I wrong on that?
Um,
I thought I had read that there was something being released this afternoon, and that's what's keeping everybody at bay. I could totally be wrong, but I thought there was
no,
something.
you could be right, but
sounds like
I'm
a normal
I'm probably
Tuesday to
the
me.
last person, right, right,
Yeah.
probably the last person to ask as far as economic data goes.
There's there,
Um,
there's always something. You know what's interesting? Everybody's looking at now is credit conditions, right? To try and so everybody's looking at lending and what do you call it? Yeah, whatever the indicators are. They're looking at basically what kind of impact all these regional bank failures had over the trailing 2 months. And we're trying to see if lending is slowing, and people are looking at the data and saying, "Oh, lending barely slowed. Maybe it's not that bad." Right? And it's one of those things where it's like, just stop even thinking about it, because I think Jerome Powell is probably looking at that same data and saying, "Oh, lending didn't slow. I'm gonna keep hiking." You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's good. People are looking at it like, "Oh, that's good. Lending is slowing." I don't know, because I think the Fed's looking at it like, "Okay, then we got to go more until it does slow." So looking at all this stuff is just a tough game to play. There's always a new flavor of the week in terms of like what is the economic data that we should be paying attention to, and it becomes like a trendy thing for everybody to talk about it, and nobody knows if they have the right take or not. So I don't know. Just follow price.
All right.
Things
Well, look,
continue to
to
out.
to complete this thought, just to be
Yeah.
thorough here,
Finish finish my sentence for me.
I looked up economic data, whatever you call this, and today at 12:05 we got the New York Fed president talking. I don't know if that's what people are waiting for, and then tomorrow morning before the market opens we got the CPI. So maybe that's what people are waiting for.
Inflation. Is it coming hot? Is it coming
Uh,
cool? What's bullish? Hotter.
you know what? And on that topic of just follow price and a lot of these economic numbers being absolute BS, I don't know if you guys saw, but like, yeah, so on the jobs number last week, did you see they revised the previous month by like 150,000 jobs? It was like one of the bigger
they always
revisions.
revise it. I don't know why people take these
I
numbers
know,
for
but
gospel.
150,000 jobs. I mean, I've
Dude,
seen reports where that is the estimate for the entire
during
number.
COVID, I think you had
So
like a couple 100,000 in revisions at one point. They didn't know what was going on.
This is why I've never trusted these numbers. A, because they always get revised, and
They're
B,
old.
that's what
They're
I'm
old
saying.
and wrong.
Yeah.
They're
and
old and they're wrong.
but B, and more specifically, is where it's generally accepted that there's going to be revisions. That to me tells me that these numbers are easily manipulated by somebody who wants to tell a narrative that they're trying to drive. So I'm skeptical. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but I just don't trust these numbers.
No, I've got my tinfoil hat on with you there, Sean. And keep in mind this is the Bureau of Labor Statistics, right? Like, isn't that the same uh, agency that put out that refused to call it a recession last year? Like we all had what we thought was a definition of a recession. Um, and when it showed up, they were just like, no, that's not a recession. No.
I think orders came from the executive branch in that instance. But yes, you're right.
Exactly. So as Steve said before, just follow price. Price doesn't lie.
Well, it's hard to interpret that too because we've just been so range bound. But Steve, what did you think of the reaction to some of these mega cap earnings? Most of the FANG names, most of the largest stocks in the market, and majority of the S&P 500 market caps reported. So what did you think of the reaction to some of those? There's been so much concern over that mega cap leadership, and are they going to continue carrying us and all that? But they didn't really break down yet, right? So far, it was a pretty decent reaction to earnings, right?
You talking to me or Sean?
You or Sean.
In terms of the mega caps, like, I'm not one to leave a trend early and for no reason, right? Like, there's nothing from the price action that is suggesting this leadership from mega cap growth is over, but it does feel a little long in the tooth here. I mean, this is nothing new. And it seems like, I do a lot of these Twitter spaces and stuff where people are giving their favorite ideas. It seems very crowded right now. We've been talking about mega cap growth since late last year leading. It seems like everybody's finally getting around to loving this theme right now. So I like it a whole lot less. But price is not telling us it's over yet. Hold on one second.
Mm-hmm. Sean, you got any thoughts there? Have you been watching any of these big ones, NVIDIA or?
I don't really have any thoughts on those. I mean, they're all riding such significant headwinds. I mean, Google, for example. I mean, that chart looks like it wants to break out finally and play catch up. And we put a trade on. I'm talking my book here, of course, but we put a trade on at Google last week, and our whole thought was, or a big driver of the thought was, if all of the headline risk in the markets right now, especially around regional banks, can't crush the market, then when that gets cleared up, there's nothing left for the market to do but go higher. And it's hard to imagine a scenario where if the broader markets resume higher, that Google doesn't at least make a run at last summer's highs. So, I mean,
Yeah.
all these big caps. I mean, I was reading a blog post today or yesterday. Somebody put out, all these people are very tempted to short, or there's people out there who want to get short some of these big cap names because they think that they're overextended, and they're riding this tech headwind of the interest rates improving for them. But the guy made the point of, you can't just short Google or NVIDIA because it's a tech name. Like, these companies are so diversified now. They have so many different lines of business that, you can't just yes, Google's a tech company, but you can't just lump it in with all other tech companies. Like, it's got so many lines of business, so many diversified revenue streams that these are all, Google and Apple and Microsoft, these are just becoming just conglomerates.
That's 100%
And they're tough to short.
And it also puts them in a position where, like you said, Sean, they're so diversified. They have so many different revenue streams that can keep them afloat. They can invest in anything, right? Like that's why these companies, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Meta, those are the names you're going to hear about investing in AI. Why? Because they have the money to invest. They could take those shots. So once you're, on the top like that, it puts you in a position of, where you're basically free to explore a little bit and look into other potentially new revenue streams, while a company that, maybe has to keep things tight and has one revenue stream and is just barely getting by and has tight margins, they can't do that, right? They don't have that liberty, which is why these guys keep winning.
Well, the other thing too, I don't know if you guys saw this. I shared it in our company Slack last night. In that same blog post that I read, the guy also shared a really fascinating chart. And maybe everyone knows this, and this is just new to me, but he showed a chart of the shares outstanding for Microsoft over the last 15 years. And the number of shares outstanding has just been dropping steadily. The chart is from the upper left to the lower right, just down, 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 because Microsoft has just been steadily and consistently buying back shares. And I'm sure that's true with some of these other big cat names too, which is just another headwind. Like, if you want to get short these tech names, not only are you, kind of swimming against the current with the trend, you're also
Uh,
swimming against the current of the fact that these are diversified companies, and you're swimming against the current that these companies are just buying back shares like crazy, lowering the float, which is not what you want if you're a short seller.
right. That's an excellent point.
Dude, Apple, to put this in perspective, what you're saying, Sean, Apple just announced a $90 billion addition to their buyback program. How many tech stocks are even have a market cap of 90 billion? 15, 20?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, they're buying back that much stock. They're buying back a mega cap.
Speaking of
Wow.
stock buybacks, I think it was Matt Levine from Bloomberg who wrote about this yesterday. I was reading it. He made an interesting point about the buybacks that we're seeing in the oil space, like ExxonMobil and companies like this. He said that these companies that are especially in energy and oil drilling, they're no dummies. They know what they're doing, and they know that the writing's on the wall that the world is transitioning away from oil. I mean, oil's never going to go away, right? Like there's always going to be a need for oil, but as more people get into electrified cars and renewable energies and things like that, the oil companies, they could either choose to take their money and reinvest in their business in what is really technically a dying business, or they could kind of gracefully exit the world by just slowly buying back their stock, and then nobody really gets hurt, and the shareholders win in the end, even though if the company eventually goes out of business. And this is like a long term, right? Like a 20, 30-year window. But I thought it was a really interesting piece. If anyone's read Matt Levine, or if you're not subscribing to his daily newsletter, it's a must read in finance. I'm pretty sure it was him that wrote about it yesterday. I thought that was a fascinating take as well.
They're also scared to invest in new oil projects.
Right. He
They've
made the
been
case
burned
that
so many
he made the
times.
case that these oil companies, like, yeah, it'd be nice if they could invest in renewable energies, but that's not their bread and butter. They've been drilling oil for 150 years. That's what they know, and that's what they're good at. There are smaller, newer, better companies out there that would be a better use of your investment dollars to invest in renewable energy than, say, ExxonMobil.
I think, you got to send me this article because I love reading about this stuff. But I think that we're going to look back in 10, 20 years, and the industry leaders in alternatives and renewables are going to be the current industry leaders in oil and gas. They have
It's funny. I just walked by a bunch of electric car chargers the other day. You know what brand they were? You know who owned them? ExxonMobil.
No way.
Yeah, these are electric car chargers, and there's a bay of them, and they all had the Exxon logo on them. So they're definitely thinking about it. I think you're absolutely right.
Dude, they're involved, and they know as well as anybody when the actual time will be to turn it on, right, and really start investing heavily.
Oh, yeah, because it's so dependent on regulation and
Yeah.
all those things. Here in California, I think by 2030 or 2035, something like that, all new car sales will have to be electric. And what does that look like for gas stations and oil companies and stuff like that?
Well, let's not model what's going to happen in the world or even the country based on what happens in California.
I knew that was coming.
Let's not make that mistake.
That is completely fair. It is valid.
But no, they're in the room, right? Like they are in the middle of these conversations with everybody. They know what's going on. They are going to invest so heavily in the right places when the time comes. It's just, the time hasn't been here. The media's been telling us for 15 years now that solar's here. These companies can't be profitable without subsidies still.
Well, let me change the subject a little bit here, Steve. We saw another really bad week last week in regional banks. Do you think that was it? Do you think that was capitulation?
I've been away from my desk since yesterday. Has PacWest blown up yet?
I mean, what's your definition of blown up?
There's a lot of Truist banks down here in the greater Miami area. I saw people in Truist, so they must still be around.
Truist, that was that KeyBank? Is that what that used to be, or
might have been? I don't know. My dad was telling me
or SunTrust. I think it might have been SunTrust.
My dad was saying I got to buy Truist here, right? Like that's got to be a bargain. I said don't touch it, please. And he might be right? But it's not, for me, everything's a risk-reward equation. And that's not one that I like. When you're watching these banks, one after the next, just literally plunge to zero in a
Yeah.
matter of days, like, that's not a risk-reward I want. Sure, maybe you get a nasty mean reversion bounce, catch 50%. I don't want the risk of losing 100, really, ever. If you want to get cute here and buy the banks and you think they're on sale, please, God, go buy the index. Buy KRE.
Right.
I would even say buy KBE. There's plenty of regionals in KBE.
Yeah, and I think they haven't even really started to dead cat bounce. Maybe a little bit, but
Isn't that information, Pat?
Exactly, right. That's
These things have been so killed, and they can't catch like any bid. I think they were up big yesterday morning, and they were just trading on the lows of the day. Those candles just melted throughout the early morning. I don't know how they finished, but they can't catch a break, these things, and that the market's telling you something.
Oof. Yep. Looking at Pac West now, down again. Ugly
I
stuff.
had some great oysters last night, Pat. I thought of you.
Oh yeah?
They did them right. Yeah.
They got the sauce and everything with them. You gotta have the horseradish. You gotta have the
right. So Patrick and I are very particular. We like our oysters the traditional way. We want the horseradish, the cocktail sauce. Give me a little lemon. And what is that like mignonette thing? The stuff that just like tastes like vinegar?
Is that what it's called? Mignonette sauce or something like that?
I have no idea.
But you need it. You need it. It's essential.
Right. So they came. They were just right. Late night oysters too, like 1 a.m. oysters.
You gotta put a shot of Tabasco on there, Steve.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
They do the I do like the oyster shooters. It's like a Bloody Mary shot, right? And you take an oyster with it. Those are neat. Those are fun.
Did that help wipe the stank of the nicks out of your mouth, or what?
You want to talk about it, dude? Those guys could play. Julius Randle is a monster. Brunson is so good, but like 2 guys can't carry the whole team. And the Heat were on fire. Did you see the way the Heat were shooting in the first 3 quarters? They did not miss. As soon as they, gave the Knicks a chance in the fourth quarter, started missing a little bit, then the Knicks couldn't make a shot or grab a rebound.
I know Brian Lund loves sports Twitter, so let's just keep going with this for a second. I'm on the Nuggets bandwagon right now. Go Nuggets.
Who's going to win it all? Who's going to win this thing?
Nuggies.
Yeah? Dude, a lot of people have been talking about the Heat. Did you see, who was it? Eddie Elfenbein last night? Made a call that Miami was going to win hockey and basketball this year.
Ooh, well, yeah, the hockey team's looking pretty good. They're leading this series right now 3-1 against Toronto.
Has an 8 seed ever won the NBA Finals?
You're asking the wrong guy. I don't know.
So another interesting thing, yesterday, we're sitting way up top, and they have the retired jerseys, right? And my girlfriend's from the Keys, so she pays attention enough, and she was looking up at the Bosch and D Wade and Shaq, and they even have Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway retired. And she asked a great question. She said, "Why isn't LeBron up there?"
Ooh,
and
there's a preload.
I turned to my dad. And I turned to my dad and I said, "Look who's missing. Look who's not up there." And you know what? He said, because he doesn't have a home. Like, if you're going to jump from one team to another team to another team, no, you're not going to get your jersey retired. The guys who get their jerseys retired play the majority of their career.
He never should have left Cleveland. What total dick move.
Right. That's where his jersey would be retired. Also, fun fact, Ray Allen is not retired, but I'm sure he's retired as a Celtic. So, anyway, I thought it was interesting.
Well, listen, on that note, I think we should probably wrap it up,
Pat,
real quiet environment.
The whole market day, we're talking sport.
Shut it down.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it'd be worse to go out there in an environment like this and go look for stuff to do. I think that's how you get chopped up. That's how you stumble on opportunities that you're not totally in love with.
Well, Pat, it's a great point. It's a good time to be overweight things like golf and fishing, right?
Yeah, there you go. What is it? There's a time to be long, a time to be short, and a time to go fishing, right? Where's that
That's my
from? Is that
favorite.
from Livermore? Is that from
I have no idea.
Reminiscence?
I don't know.
It's a great quote. You guys are the quote guys.
Any last trades? Any last charts you're watching, Steve?
I got nothing. I mean, the
Brian,
guys,
John?
we've been talking about it. Brian's already up big on this trade. But DraftKings, DKNG, I love
Oh,
it.
okay.
And anything else that looks like it.
Well, it kind of goes with what we've been talking about, right? We've been talking about sports and DraftKings. I mean, we're the breakout that happened this or last week following earnings. I mean, it seems to me like it's blue skies ahead, and with the NFL season around the corner, it feels like a good time to take a flyer or place a bet, as one might say, in DraftKings.
Hey, can I ask you guys real quick about Bitcoin? What do you think? It looks
And then-
toppy to me. I don't know if you covered this already, but like, what are you thinking, Bitcoin?
That's a good one. Thanks for bringing it up.
I mean, it looks like I know that every technician sees a head and shoulders or inverse head and shoulders at every pattern they look at, but it does look like a little head and shoulders is forming right now.
Yeah. And you could probably see that kind of extend down to like 24,000, 25. And it seems like nobody really expected it to just rip through 30,000 without, some consolidation, some pause.
Yeah, that's a big level. I mean, I have nothing on Bitcoin specifically, but I saw the weakness yesterday before I left, and I looked at a number of altcoins in my altcoin chart book. Very weak. Until the altcoins start working, Bitcoin's not going to continue to move up and to the right while the rest of the space is dead.
Solana's gotten killed lately.
Yeah, exactly. I saw some nasty candles in Solana yesterday, and you could go through them. Atom, AVAX, Matic, they're all just messes. So until that changes, I don't think it's prudent to get too bullish about the price action in Bitcoin.
So are we saying now that crypto is kind of decoupled from the market? Is that what you guys are seeing in your data?
I think it's just tech.
It's moving. It's like in the last few months, it's really been moving more with like gold than what we saw last year, where you were seeing it move in lockstep pretty much with the Nasdaq. So it's in a repair process, and I think the crowd will love it again once it really gets going.
Dude, tell me Bitcoin doesn't look like some of the best tech stocks though right now.
No, that's a great point. It's in that kind of base repair process, and it's got some overhead supply to deal with. It doesn't look like it wants to go down and retest the lows, but it also doesn't look super strong. So
overlay it with something like Nvidia. It's a leader in the tech space right now. It looks like a tech leader.
Yeah, but Brian, that head and shoulders, that's a really good point there. But it is still small. So if it does resolve, I think it gets you 24, 25,000 at best.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you're bullish overall, or you think the overall pattern is starting to repair, maybe it's an opportunity to pick some up if it does resolve that short-term head and shoulder.
Yeah. All right, well, guys, good stuff.
Before we go,
what's up?
I got one more before we go.
Shoot. Yeah.
So just to keep things relevant, Acushnet Holdings Corp, ticker symbol Golf.
Oh gosh! Look at you bringing us full circle.
Right, parent company of Titleist and a bunch of other cool brands. As long as I keep losing so many golf balls, I think this stock is going to keep pressing to new highs. It's rather close to new all-time highs too. We just put a trade on it, but you continue.
Oh, this is fantastic.
That's a good chart. That's a nice looking chart, Steve.
Right? Yeah. So there you go. I like golf, and I also like ticker symbol Golf. So there it is.
Sweet.
Ticker symbol Golf. Wow. All right. Well, we'll do this again next week, and thank you guys for joining.